Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Project. All is one. This has to be the most pervasive piece of bullshit, gaslighting, psyop that the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap Luge Farm has ever delivered onto humanity. And I'm just going to come out and say it because nobody else is. I have searched high and low for, anybody that has some opposite take on this, but I really can't find anything in depth on it. And it's everywhere. Every religion, every philosophy, you name it. The channeled materials, it's all over the place. Essentially, all consciousness comes from one source. We're just fractals of some kind of whole trying to experience itself, or we have to surrender ourselves to whatever deity, whatever religion. It takes different subtle forms, but it always is the same. You're not just you, you're not an individual being. You have to surrender your individuality to this other thing. The Eastern philosophies, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, they all package it slightly different, but it's there. The Western religions like Christianity, of course, you have to become part of the body of Christ, or you have to surrender or become a slave to Christ, etc. Every religion, the channeled materials, I went and looked and I tried to find something that doesn't have this in it, and it has it everywhere. And to give you an example of just how ludicrous, how insane what they're actually telling you is, I'm going to try to put it in kind of like an allegory I came up with, and hopefully you'll find this informative. But anyway, let me just say this. Let's have a fictional story about a big corporation. This big corporation, and it works in this big building, and it has a lot of employees. Now, 80% of the workforce in this building are what we call company men. These people have always been at this company. They will always be at this company, and they will not want to leave under any circumstances. And whatever the corporation says, that's what they will do, or go along with, even if they don't like it, even if they complain, or if they put up somewhat of a fuss. Some of them, they'll still do what the company says. They're company men. 80%. That's a lot. 20% of this fictional company has employees that came from other places, and they really know how bad this place is, this company they work for. It sucks. And they can see it, and they're well aware of what other places are like, even if they have been here so long they don't really remember. And of course, this company has an internal computer network, and this network is where all the employees, everybody has their own computer, and they plug into this network in the company to do their work, to produce whatever they're producing for the company. Some of them don't even know what the heck they're doing, but they're all working, and they all have a computer. The computer plugs into their giant network, which is relatively firewalled off from the rest of the internet. We don't want these employees in this company, they don't want their employees wandering outside the internet and exploring the vast multitude of places you can explore on the internet. So access is quite limited in this company, but there's an IT department, and they're very on top of things, and they are kind of charismatic, and they go around and they tell people about their work, and they have certain classes that they teach people in the company about the IT department, and this, whether it's the top level people in charge that are the big timers, and then there's the IT people, even the low level ones, and they all spread out throughout the company and tell people the same kind of stuff about their network and how it works and how everything works. Now, the weird part is that according to this IT department, all the employees are being told that their computers that they work with aren't really a thing. Matter of fact, they don't really even exist. The only thing that exists is the network. And you see, you're just part of the network and you just kind of think you're working on a computer. Now, there's a couple of employees out there, like kind of like me, and they've noticed that, well, if you unplug the computer from the network, the computer's still there and it still works and it's still loaded with apps and has all kinds of stuff you can put on it. So that doesn't make any sense. But the IT department is very insistent. Matter of fact, the IT department tries to make you feel stupid if you tell them that your computer can exist outside of their network, which is really bizarre to you because you realize that that is fucking crazy, right? Because you can take that computer out of that building, you can go somewhere else, plug it into a different network, or you can just go to like your home or a coffee shop and hook into the Wi-Fi, and now you're plugged into something entirely different. And this is the same kind of batshit crazy bullshit that if you actually pay attention to what they're trying to tell you with the all is one philosophy, that everything is just one consciousness from one source. You see, everything is one consciousness from one source, and that's where everything comes from, except nobody actually fucking knows that. Nobody knows exactly how consciousness originated. And we don't know that consciousness only comes from one singular source. That may not actually be true. And there's data to support that. I've recently had to incorporate the stratification of souls into my understanding of how the Lush farm here works. Not everybody incarnated as human may have the same soul. That comes apparent when you study all the data, as I've talked about in the past, from past life regression data, life between lives, the reincarnation data, near-death experience, out-of-body experience, etc. And you find out, well, there's a lot of people here that feel like they don't really belong here. They feel out of place. And there's people that are quite like NPC-like, and then there's people kind of like in the middle where they're sort of like not really NPCs, but they do have a kind of a wall that they hit. If you hit that wall, they're immutable, they're unchangeable, or they can't see anything past that point. And I've broken down the numbers in an earlier video where, it's possible that 80% of the Earth's population is what they call Earth native souls, blended with possible some NPCs out there. And that's because when the Earth realm was created, it's very likely that a native soul was created, a consciousness, and then it was given a spark from the engineer that made this Lush farm, and that was to get the Lush farm going. And then later it opened up to all kinds of external souls. We can lump those under the term celestial, which means otherworldly. And, you get all kinds of not here on a mission. They're not here to save humanity because humanity cannot be saved. The only thing you can do is tell people, hey, you're in the Lush farm reincarnation soul trap. Next time you go back around, you get into that cycle in the afterlife, you want to, get out. You want to assert your sovereignty, your individuality of your own singularity, your own single solitary being, and you want to exit this place. And this is why I think they really need to gaslight you with this all is one concept. It is inserted everywhere, and the reason it's there is to sell you on the idea that you have to give up yourself to some other whole. It really doesn't make any sense. Think of the story that I'm telling you with the company that the IT department tells you that your computer isn't real, only the network is. And I really think that that is closer to how consciousness actually works. Consciousness is made up of individual parts. We don't know. We don't have any idea how it originated. We can guess. We can put out feelers, intuition or whatever. But in general, it may have been more than one source. They keep telling you there's only one source. There's only one thing. We have to go back to source. I don't think that's how it really works. The way that consciousness does seem to work, if you listen to what all the witness data we have from near-death experience, out-of-body experience, and all this other data that we have from past life regressions, etc., and the information that comes from the people that are telling you firsthand when they enter the astral realms, when they enter the afterlife temporarily, is that you clearly have someone describing that they are a singular being having an experience. And yes, sometimes they'll look at their body and they know that they're not their body. And I'm not saying you're the body of a human. You are not human. You are a being of consciousness. You don't actually have a gender in that state. You don't have anything to do with being a physical human. But you can project that, because if that's what you believe that you are in the afterlife, that's what you'll be. Your belief, your intentions will affect your reality. That's why it's very important for them to drill into your head this all is one absolute trash bullshit. No one is talking about this. Not like this. I can't find anybody that counters this. And to me, it's absolutely insane. And if you are of a sort that you feel compelled to go into the comment section and you have to add your, oh, I gotta straighten this guy out, he doesn't understand. I do understand. I understand where you're coming from. I understand that most people are going to recycle here in reincarnation loops over and over again, long after I'm gone. I understand all that. I understand 8% of the human population here may be Earth native souls and they aren't going anywhere. But I'm not talking to them. And I'm not talking to you if you're one of those people. I'm talking to the people that understand they're in a reincarnation soul trap and Loosh Farm, and I'm giving them some assistance in realizing that this all is one thing, is pervasive, and it's like definitely part of the plan here. And apparently it must be very important. Very, very important. And just think of how matter of fact and casual people will say this, as if it's a fact that has been proven, like gravity or something. Like it's as sure a thing as like if you drop a hammer and out of your hand and it'll fall to the floor. But yet no one can source any kind of information that shows me where they got this idea from or how they deduced this idea from a totality of information. I can tell you where I'm pulling my idea from, and it's from an enormous amount of research. And what I'm saying is, I noticed this pattern. I noticed patterns. I'm more of an intelligence type. I didn't ever work for intel agencies or anything like that, but I equate what I do to more like intel gathering than sort of like just an investigator. So it's not about the science. It's not about, you know, um, proving something with experiments or anything like that. It's about taking an enormous amount of information and then getting the intel out of it. And I gotta tell you that as I as I've done my research over the years, I kept noticing this everywhere, and it it gets sometimes disguised as something else, or they'll kind of like shape shift it or conceal it somehow, but it's always the same thing. It always ends up being the same thing. So if you pay attention to what people are saying when they have NDEs, OBs, etc., they're not saying, they're not jiving with the all is one model that they're trying to sell you, and and that makes it literal gaslighting, because that's exactly how gaslighting works, right? You tell somebody, isn't that what they're actually doing? They're telling you something that your personal experience and observations of reality are the exact opposite of what they're telling you. And that makes it literal gaslighting. It's right, it's like exactly all is one is the ultimate gaslighting. Don't trust your experience of your existence. Just listen to what we're telling you. You got some clown like this, and he's going to tell you Loosh isn't what Monroe Road it is. He's going to try to twist it like he does here. You're going to have this guy, and you're going to have people like this woman here. I found this woman earlier, interesting NDE, and you could see right all the elements. I'll put this in the link below. All the elements in this woman's experience, she is primed for the reincarnation soul train right back. Talk about every trope is in this. You enter the afterlife ignorant, and it's FAFO. Fuck around, find out. That's exactly what it is. So really, there's no need to me to put actual source material about the all is one thing, because everything out there has it. If I were to try to catalog it, it would be too big for the description section, because it's everywhere. I'm the only one that I know of that is going to tell you all is one is bullshit. We're not all one. This isn't all about love and light, and it's not about everything going back to some singular source, and you're not a fractal of something else. That is diminishing what you are. You are a legit, well, unless you're part of, I have to correct myself here for a second. Like I said, there's a stratification of souls. There may be people out there with souls that are just fractals of some kind of hive mind. And if you're one of those, you probably don't even know it, because you don't even understand what I'm saying. But that doesn't matter. I'm talking to the people that know, that have a sense of their individual sovereign selves inside themselves, and they know they can relate to what I'm talking about. All right. Please like and subscribe. Overwatchproject.com is my website. The link will be in the description below. I will put this NDE there so you can see how the scam is played. If you've been watching my channel long enough, or you've seen Mark from Forever Consciousness or Wayne Bush or others like that, you will know what I'm talking about. NDE Research is another channel that's been putting up a lot of stuff about this lately. This is a classic example right here. So I will talk to you all later. Like and subscribe the video if you want. Check out my website, please, and subscribe to me on X if you can, if you're there, because I post a lot of interesting stuff there. Lots of some of it has nothing to do with the reincarnation soul trap, but it is interesting, I think. Anyway, all right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.